OK, so Jade, we'll come to you first then. Just tell us about Betty and why it's important.
Hey, so Betty for Schools is a new programme aimed at teaching young people about periods, both boys and girls, through step-by-step guides with there's information there for parents, for children, for teachers. They've introduced something called the Betty Bus as well, which can go around to schools and provide interactive lessons and resources for both boys and girls to teach about periods and about changes the body goes through, and just to normalise it, and open up this conversation.
I like the fact you say it's for boys and girls. So are they both going to be taught the same information at the same time?
Well, that would be dependent. I mean, if you wanted to split the genders and do like an introductory lesson for the girls and for the boys, it might be easier for the girls perhaps to talk about on their own. But again, that's it. It's totally up to how you want to use the resources, how you want to use the programme. It's totally adaptable.
So this is completely new. This isn't something that's been done before. If not, why not?
Well, it's always been quite taboo. I mean, there's been some research done which shows that like 3/4 of women think that we're too squeamish to talk about the subject, which is something that needs to change. And Betty for Schools has seen that there is a massive gap there and that needs to be sorted out. So by introducing a very at ease conversational approach to teaching about periods, we're hoping to sort that out. So resources that are currently out there are so dated and quite biology heavy that it doesn't tackle the actual problems that the girls and boys might actually be thinking about in terms of, girls with their mood swings and emotions and the changes in that way. So it's a totally refreshing way to look at it.
And we're joined by Kaye and Nadia as well. Now, on Loose Women, obviously, you ladies do discuss subjects like this and you're quite frank about it. You both have daughters yourselves, so I'm intrigued to know how your daughters feel about you talking about these things in public that way.
Oh, God,
they're used to it.
My poor children know that I'm a professional oversharer. They are world weary with it all. But actually, as you said that, I don't think we ever have discussed it. I've never discussed it on Loose Women, actually.
Period. No,
I don't think I ever have.
Either.
I mean, the numbers on this research really have, we've all been all morning, really? We can't believe it. 44% of women did not know what was happening to their body when they got their first period. And that's why we really are excited about Betty for Schools and their approach to it. I mean, Jade is saying, there that teachers have been using the same materials as they were 17, 18 years ago. And clearly, how are children going to be able to identify with that or feel any relevance?
Yeah.
So the way that Betty are approaching it, is the way that kids want to do everything these days, film-led, interactive, quizzes, really user-friendly. And the Betty Bus, which is a great invention. So teachers can register for that and the Betty Bus can just pull up at the school, because actually Jade was saying to us, don't forget, some of the teachers are a bit awkward about talking about this.
Well, because sometimes we have that bit of nostalgia, don't we, kind of older generations, and we laugh about the kind of blushing biology teacher who came in with these 3 rubber ducks to
Really?
try and...
What did she do with the ducks?
Well, he was a bloke, actually. I remember him. I think he was a chemistry teacher. We tell these stories about how awkward it was and how the teachers, and we were all tittering, etc., etc. But we have to move on from that. I mean, we live in the information age, and we were just having a conversation about this. Children have access to limitless information now out there through the internet, and some of it can be very scary and damaging and not appropriate for their age. And it's really difficult for us, try as we might, to kind of restrict their access. So what we have to make sure is that they have first access to really good information, really good, solid information that they know that they can rely on, they know that they can trust. It's coming from people that they trust, and it's coming from sources that they trust, that can say to them, look, this is just a natural part of life. It's a natural part of the way that your body changes. There's a whole range of emotions that you'll experience, and indeed, apart from the basic biology, some girls get terrible cramps, some girls don't get terrible cramps, some girls experience heavy periods, all of those experiences are entirely normal. Half the population is having them. Let's just have a proper conversation about it. And so we're trying to budget on from our kind of old stories of whatever happened in our school, our convent convent school or wherever the heck we were, and create a conversation that is appropriate for today's generation. That's what Betty for Schools is about.
So where does the book stop, though? Should it be with schools, or should it be with parents, or should it be a combination of both?
Well, we shouldn't be shifting blame. We all want our children to grow up in a secure and safe, supportive environment. Parents want that for their children. Teachers like Jade want that for their pupils. We all want that. So, instead of, oh, it's you to do it, you to do it, you to do it, let's just all do it. Let's just all do our bit and make sure that children can benefit from that.
But I think it's important that, that Betty for Schools have recognised that a lot of parents aren't able to have that conversation for whatever reason. They're finding it difficult, might be for religious reasons, we don't know. So it's very, very important that that our children are getting that information at school in case they're not at home. But yeah, what the ideal would be, wouldn't it, that you get the really clear stuff from Jade, because I'm sure my biology bit was a bit muddled with Maddie.
I'm going to put my kids onto Jade. Can we get your number, Jade?
We've all just been trying to draw pictures of ovaries, and I don't think any of us succeeded. And then that can be an ongoing dialogue when they get home from school. That would be the ideal.
Jade, what sort of age do you think is appropriate to start talking to? Because, of course, girls get their periods at entirely different times. Some get them very young, don't they?
Well, this is what we've been chatting about this morning, actually, is how young girls are now. I've known of girls 7, 8 years old who have started. So it's difficult to say at what point do you introduce that into the lesson. But then if we normalise just the whole process of growing up and periods, then who's to say when there's an age limit for it? If it's a total normal conversation, then it should just come about naturally.
I mean, mine started at 10. I was ever so young. But luckily, my mum never had any embarrassment about it. So, and so consequently, I didn't. But I do realise that I'm very lucky to have had that experience, and certainly not everybody does. I mean, can you believe that something like, what was it, 74% of women? No, that wasn't. What's my favourite one here? Oh, 32% of women, had feelings of shame about their period. Can you believe that in this day and age? And we don't want that for our girls. And also, it's not just our girls. We really want boys to be informed as well. Where it's 50% of the population, and at times, as my husband will tell you, they do have to deal with some stuff.
And do you feel as well, and this I suppose is especially for Nadia and Kaye, do you feel the media does have a part to play in this too? Because, it was only last year, wasn't it, that Bodyform came out with the first commercial that wasn't using blue liquid. Surely that's got a part to play in the idea of us feeling ashamed of it.
Well, yeah, because, the media, what is the media? It's a whole load of people who happen to work in a particular sector. So we're all affected by these kind of cultural norms. I mean, the other example, there have been a couple of sporting examples in recent years, haven't they, of a couple of female athletes that have said, well, actually, I wasn't on my game because, I was having a really bad period. Now, we've blanked that out, but every woman will know how you feel. At a certain point, you can feel a bit yuck, can't you, to say the least. And you think, what? And then you've got to go out and play a tennis match, or then you've got to go and run the 100 metres final. Why do we not take this into consideration? So, yeah, we're all in our own little ways. I think, I won't use the word guilty, but we all have to take our responsibility for wanting just to wipe out reality. And, this is a bit of a wake-up call.
And Jade, it mentions as well here that the Betty campaign as well will be focusing on practicalities too. In what way?
Well, the practicalities of growing up with these changes, the children being able to talk about changes that they're going through. It's the practicalities in terms of, knowing the biology, knowing what's going on inside of you. But at the end of the day, girls don't look at their tummies and think, oh, look what's going on in there. They're thinking about their mood swings. They're thinking about the changes they're actually going through. They're feeling really stroppy, or they're feeling really sad, or something really hurts. And it's the actual practicalities of how do I deal with those changes, the ones that are going to affect me on a day-by-day basis while I'm going through this change, as opposed to the, I suppose in a way, invisible ones that you can't see.
And if we start these changes or these different kind of conversations with relation to what's happening with the young girls, then hopefully it sets a pattern for all the kind of conversations with young people, because boys and girls, they go through such huge changes in that period in their lives between 8 and then when they kind of mature, sort of 17 and 18. And for boys too, and they need to talk about the changes that go on in their bodies. It's not just a girl thing, clearly different changes. But I think, you know, boys and girls, we need to be much more open about, you know, what is entirely natural. Because the fear and the gossip and the stigma and all the kind of little snide remarks always tend to come out of lack of information, don't they? And people being secretive and people sort of saying, oh, this is awkward. Once you get rid of that, what have you got left?
And I always say to my girls, information is power.
Yeah.
If somebody's giggling at you and then you can hand them back the absolute facts and figures, it will usually quiet them down.
That is so true. And what about as well then, speaking of the way we talk about it, what do you think of the fact that we do sort of use all these daft names for it? I mean, I say I'm in the red corner, which is that's my little phrase for it. Do you think it's healthy to use these alternative phrases and words for it?
We've heard some cracking ones today. I'd never heard of. Apparently there's one, the Russians are in dock.
Yeah, I mean, my one at school was always the painters are in, which is, I mean, you know, I don't have a problem with the thing is, we want to get people talking about it. Personally, I don't have a problem with whatever words people want to use to feel comfortable. I mean, nobody
as long as it's respectful.
As long as it's respectful, exactly. Then that's fine by me. But I have no problem saying period. And I will say none for the rest of my life. Often I'm told none is not an appropriate word. For me, it is.
I go for time of the month, I have to say.
Do you? How sweet.
Traditional.
I know.
Oh, maybe
what do you say, Jade?
Yeah, probably time of the month, or just say I'm on my period. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go, time of the month. But it's like anything, isn't it? We've got different words for so many different things in general conversation. Why not have different words for this that are still totally acceptable and normal to use? Just
whatever makes you comfortable, I think.
Definitely. Well, I'm still thinking about 3 rubber ducks at the moment, but
so am I. We'll have to go over that with a bottle of wine, Kaye.
I think so, exactly.
That poor teacher was obviously in the right
He was very embarrassed. He was very embarrassed.
He was in a right duck, wasn't he?
Oh, dear. Well, Jade, just let us know then where we can find out more about this.
Okay, if you search online Betty for Schools, all one word, it'd be a website that comes up. There's resources on there for teachers and parents and for children as well. And I'd really encourage schools to sign up online for the Betty Bus. It'd be a visit really worth having.
Yeah, the Betty Bus sounds great. That comes round and it's got, you know, the kids can get on and they can access the information as a whole group or boys and girls separately. That sounds a really good thing.
Well, let's hope we can get you on a ferry and come to the Isle of Man as well.
Oh, we'd like that.
My mum and dad went on their honeymoon to the Isle of Man and I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, come and see us. We're friendly.
We'd love that. We'd love that.
To do that.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks a million.
Take care.
Bye, ladies. Bye.